So let me remind you guys about your quadratic equation. Okay, so you're always going to have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So if you're solving, it's going to be equaling to 0. Okay, so can you help me read number 1, please, Shaughnessy? Right, so subtract the c value. So it's no longer equaling to 0, it should equal to c. Can you read, Nico L, can you read number 2, please?
Complete the square.
Okay, so complete the square. This is how you complete the square. Can you read, Caitlin S., the first dash line?
Side work divide b by 2 and square.
Perfect. So we're going to take the b value, we're going to divide by 2, then we are going to square it, and that's on the scratch work, okay? Can you read, Megan B., can you read dash number 2, please?
Add that value to both sides of the equation.
Right, so now you're going to go in and add that value to the left and add that value to the right. Now, if you're adding the same value to the equation on both sides, is that still going to be equal? Yes or no? If you're going to go in and add the same value on the left, add the same value on the right, is that still going to be equal? Yes, and that's why it's legal to do so. Can you help me read number 3, please? This one goes to Ryan. Perfect. Okay. Can you help me read number 4, please, Ryder? Perfect. And then number 5, Joey? Perfect, and that's really normal. Okay. So we're going to come back up and do this one. Solve by taking the square root. So this is already factor for you. All we have to do now is undo the power of 2. So, Kimmy, how do we undo the power of 2? Yeah, we're going to go and square root both sides. Okay. If we take this square root, we are now going to end up with x plus 2 equals. Here's something that we have to be very mindful of. Every time you take a square root, how many answers do you come up with? 2. You're right, you're going to end up with plus or minus 5. Okay. Then this is where you're going to break it into 2 equations and solve. One will be an x plus 2 equal to positive 5, or you can also x plus 2 equal to negative 5. Okay. On the left-hand side, Paige, what would you do to solve for x on the left side?
Subtract 2.
You're right. Okay, subtract 2. So my first answer is just going to be x equals to, what is that first answer? 3? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so that's one answer. On the right side, Sophia, what would you do to solve the right side?
Subtract 2.
Yep, subtract 2. So the right side's answer, Alden, would be what? Perfect. Okay, so those are your 2 answers. Some of you like to write answer together, and that's totally okay too. You can write x equal to negative 7 comma 3. You can put them together, or you can box them up separately. All right, why don't you guys try number 2, 3, and 4 for me? I'll put about 5 minutes on the clock. Once you have an answer, can you compare that to your shoulder partner, please? Or if you don't have a shoulder partner, can you compare that to your back front partner? Remember, be mindful about taking the square root. Okay. Is 7 going to work out nicely? No. Is it okay to have another radical? Yeah, it's totally okay. Okay. You're not going to have nice numbers all the time. Okay. So I saw some of you did this, and you guys kind of stopped. Would you agree once you can end up with x minus 9 equal to what? Plus or minus? Rad? 7. Yeah, that's okay to have a non-nice number. It doesn't have to be nice all the time. Okay. Then from here, you do the same thing. You can break that up. You can go x minus 9 equals what? Rad 7, or x minus 9 equal to? Negative rad 7. Class, you can have a negative on the outside. Can you have a negative under the square root? No, that's the difference between the 2. Then over here, we're going to add 9 to both sides. For this answer, it's going to come out to be x equals to 9 plus rad 7. Can I combine those two things? Can I combine those two things? 9 plus rad 7. Can I put them together?
No.
No. Okay. One is really radical. One is not radical. They really don't hang out together. So leave it as is. You can box that up as an answer. Then the other side, you do the same thing. You're going to add 9 to both sides. Then you're going to end up with, what would the answer on this side be? 9 minus rad 7. Totally okay to have non-perfect numbers just like that. Radical 7 is an irrational number. Okay. Some of you eventually probably like to write it this way. I'm trying to erase. Okay. Some of you would like to write answer this way. X equal to 9 plus or minus square root of 7. Is that also okay? Yep. Totally okay. However you want to write it like that. All of those would be acceptable. Okay, now go ahead and continue to try for 3. When you take a square root of 20, do you have to simplify? Yes. Okay. Just like normal, you always have to simplify all your answers in mathematics. So, once you have an answer, you think you're close, or if you are stuck, please either talk to one another or raise your hand. If you're stuck, talk to me. If you're stuck, talk to your friend. If you're number 4 and you're not sure, can you talk to your people now? Compare answers. Haley, on number 3, what did you do first? Yep. So Haley said she took the square root to both sides. Good. That just changed color on me. There you go. Okay. So Haley, what did you write after you took the square root to both sides? Positive or negative? Rad 20. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Okay. Raise your hand if you can help me simplify rad 20. How do you simplify rad 20, Ryder?
You put 2 and 10 together.
So 2 times 10,
And then you do for 10, 5 and 2.
5 and 2. Do you guys agree, Ryder? Okay. So this is in essence x minus 7 equals plus or minus under the radical 2 times what? 5. How do you know what qualifies to take out under the radical? How many do you need for a square root?
You need 2 of the same number to take it out of the radical.
Would that qualify to take out?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's perfect. So we are going to take that out. So x minus 7 equals plus or minus 2 rad 5. And this is when you can break it up. Okay. So you're going to write x minus 7 equals to positive 2 rad 5. Or x minus 7 equal to the negative 2 rad 5. And then you're going to add 7 to both sides. Can I combine 2 rad 5 to 7 at all? No, you're going to leave it. Okay. So one answer would be x equals 7 plus 2 rad 5. Class, that does not make 7 rad 5. That is just simply 7 plus 2 rad 5. Similarly to the bottom, we're going to add 7 to both sides. So, oops. Then that x is going to be, if we add 7 to both sides, it's now 7, what? Minus 2 rad 5. And those are our final 2 answers. Right? Yes, so it would be slightly incorrect. Just like having 4 over 8, you have to simplify that into a half. Ryder?
Could you put x equals 7 plus or minus 2 rad 5?
You are correct. I would definitely take that, Ryder. X equals 7 plus or minus 2 rad 5. Totally. Okay. Any other questions on just taking the square root to both sides? Okay. The last one's probably the best one. Someone tell me why it's the best one. I don't have to do it? What make you think we don't have to do it, Ben?
Because it's -4.
Yeah.
Square root of it.
Anytime you take a square root of a negative number, y'all, would you have real solutions? No. So all you got to do right now, until we get to the imaginary one, no real what? Solutions. Add the word reals on there. We will have solutions later. Right now, we have no real solutions. Okay? Okay. So how is that going to help us with what we are really taking note today? Completing the square, it's kind of like that, okay? Trying to get it all in squares. So example 5 to 7 said, solve by completing square, which is not the same as factoring. So please don't go and factor it on tonight's homework unless it said so. On number 1, it says subtract C value from both sides. What is the C value on example 5? Hannah?
13.
You're right. So it said, hey, go and subtract C from both sides. So subtract C from both sides. I'm now going to end up with x squared minus 8x. I'm going to have a blank space. Give that blank space its blank spot, okay? So right now, leave that blank space the way it is. I'm going to go in and add something later. Here's number 2. So number 1 says subtract C from both sides. We did that. And number 2 says on scratch paper, on side work, on the left side, right side, wherever you want to find the spot for it. I need to take B and divide that by what? 2. So here's my question to you. Jennifer, what's our B value?
8x.
B doesn't require x. B is just what? B is -8. If there's a minus, take that with you, okay? So side work, this is where it's going to come in. Side work, take B, which is -8. We're going to take that and we're going to divide that by 2, okay? So once you divide by 2, what do you have? Nick, well, Nick A's not here. Once you divide by 2, Katrina, what is that? -4 is perfect, but that's not the end of my side work. You divide by 2 and then what? Square it, okay? Divide by 2 and square it. Remember, square the whole thing. So what is -4? Marked square. Perfect. And that's what we're going to add to both sides. So at 16 here, what you added to the left, we need to add it to the right. So that class equals 16. And that's what we're adding over here. So that's number 2. The number 3 is just said factor the perfect square, which is now awesome. How do we factor this guy right here? That's a perfect square, by the way. Okay, that's a perfect square. How do we factor that? What would you get? Joe?
Is it going to be a perfect square every time?
That's why it's called complete the square, because it's gonna be a perfect square every time. Sophia, how do you factor that?
You do whatever multiplies to become 16 and adds to become -8.
Right? So, guys, a perfect square is going to mean I'm going to have 2 factors that are exactly the same. What goes in that? What's x minus 4? Yes or no? On the right side, it's no longer 0 because it's not using the 0 product properties. On the right side, what does this equal to? Shelby?
3. Or, 3.
Any questions so far? Now, have we done that already from the previous examples? How do you solve for x from here? What would you do next? Square root. Okay, so go ahead and try, and then let me know what your final answers are. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We are going to complete the square. That's all we're doing for completing the square. So solve for it. Let me know what your final answers are once you come up with them.
Can you repeat again how you went through the highlighted part into the x minus 4 squared?
That's a perfect square. So what that means is if you're factoring a perfect square, do you remember how to factor a perfect square? Yeah, so this is what you have to do, right? I'm gonna write it in the bottom. You have x squared minus 8x plus 16, right, okay? What you want to ask yourself is that a perfect square number? That means I would have, if I take a square root, would you agree that I have an x?
Yes.
Okay, is that a perfect square number?
Yes.
When I take a square root, what would I get? 4. Perfect. In the middle though, can you see in the middle is negative 8? Question is negative 8 the same as 2 times the front and times the back? Okay, actually it's negative 8x. Is that okay? Yes. So the front is x, the back is? The back is 4, right? So 4, because it's positive, can you see 4 is positive? But there's a negative right here, okay? So this is either a positive or negative. Would you agree? So because the middle number is negative, okay, this has to be a negative. So is this a true statement right here? Yes, so that means a perfect trinomial. Anytime it's a perfect trinomial, okay, then you can always factor just like that. Okay. Now, if that doesn't work for you, just make your x. On top, it will be 16. In the middle, it will be negative 8. Your side numbers are negative 4 and negative 4. That will also work. Okay. Okay. All right, help me solve, please. Heidi, can you help me solve from here? Yeah, we're back there. Take the square root and then?
We do x minus 4 equals square root 3, and then x minus 4 equals square root of negative 3.
Oh, okay, so you already like split it up. Okay, so let me write that out. Do you guys agree with Heidi? Okay, she can still split it up straight up. Yep, and then what would you do next time?
And then you add 4 on both sides.
Okay. Can I do it together like that? Like that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what did you end up with?
X equals 4 plus square root 3. X equals 4 minus square root 3.
Okay, perfect. And some of you said, can I put them together? And the answer is? Yes or no? Yeah, totally. Okay, you can always put them together. Okay. Okay, 6. What is, Aaron, what's the C value on 6? Good. And what do we do with C, Aaron? Perfect. Subtract it to both sides. So now we have an x squared plus 10x. Do I leave that blank space right now? Yeah, leave it right now, okay? Equal to negative 30. Okay, this is where the side work's going to come in. Side work. Ainsley, what is the b value for example 6? B is 10, good. What do we do with the b value? Allie? Divided by 2, good. So if I divide by 2, Allie, what would I get? 5, good. After you divide by 2, Ben V, what do we do? Once we take the b value, we divide by 2.
Square it.
Square it. And Ben V, once you square it, what do we get? 25. Perfect. And guys, what do I do with that 25? You're right, put it into space. But when you add it to one side, you have to go and add it to the other side. Okay. So I am now going to have x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals what? Negative 5. Now Joe asked earlier, is it always going to be a perfect square on that side? Yes, because we complete the square ourselves. Okay, what are the factors then on that side? Ariana, can you tell me the factor on that side? Yeah. It's always what? 1 what? I'm sorry, one more time? I can't hear you. What are you looking at, hon? That's x squared plus 10x plus 25. Is that what you mean?
Oh, it's plus 25. Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would be 1.
So what are the factors? X plus 5. Perfect. Do you guys agree on Ariana? Okay. Now, our next move is, what do you want to do? Nicole, what do you want to do next? Square root to both sides. Perfect. Do we have a problem?
Yeah.
We do. Right now we do. Can we have a square root of a negative under? So how do we write this answer? No real solutions for now. Okay.
Why'd you do plus 25? It would be minus 25. Then you bring it to negative 30 plus 25. Negative 30 minus 25.
Well, you added 25 on the left. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Well, you add it on one side to make it equal. You have to go and add it to the other side. Always. Because right now it's an equation. If you go and add 25 on one side and subtract the other one, that's not going to be equal. Did I answer that? Joe?
For these problems, is it going to start with x squared every time for now?
Not every time. For now. For now. Okay. In the future, if it doesn't start with x squared, Joe, then you have to get rid of that a value by dividing everything by a to get x squared by itself. All right, you guys try this one. C. So try C, please. Question. Right?
So for number 7, it says, so we're supposed to subtract the, subtract the c value. So, but if it's already like a negative, would we add the c value?
Correct, correct. So you're just gonna, yep,
So instead of subtracting something, that's
right. Perfect, well said. You're just moving the c to the other side. Good question. So technically, that can be rewritten as a plus negative sum. Once you are done with 6, I'm sorry, not 6, 7, or you're stuck, either one, can you just compare your answer to your partner? Whether you're stuck or done.
Would it be minus 1? I don't know.
I should you plug it in for me, Gabby? Because I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
To find a substance, the GCF of B is
To find this, since you say one of Well, like the thing is, like, they asked, it's like, how are you doing X? That's like add up to your, like, so if this one's like 5, there's like 5 plus 5 is 10, and 5 plus 25. So, like, I don't know what to do. So I just wanted to, I don't know.
Joe, what is your first step?
In general,
Uh-huh.
is that after Ryder added 7 to both sides?
Nope, just I haven't done anything yet. So if this is like on your homework or on an exam, what's your first move?
Add 7 to both sides.
Good. And Ryder brought up a really good question. You know, in the instruction, it says, hey, go ahead and subtract. Technically, this is really written or can be written as this. Yes or no? Yeah, so just kind of move the c to the other side is what we're trying to say. Equal to now positive 7. What goes in that blank spot, Daniela? 4. Do you guys agree with Daniela? Okay, that means I have 4 right here. So this is now a perfect square on the left. On the right, it's 11. What are the factors, Ben E?
It would be X plus, right now, it would be X minus 2.
Good. And guys, this is a really good hint for you. Can you see there's a minus right here? Can you see there's a minus 4x in the middle? If the b value is a minus, this should always be what? a minus, okay? Because when you check it, when you multiply it back, it's the only way to get the original back is when that's a subtraction. Then here, we're going to take the square root. So we will have x minus 2 equal to plus or minus 11. Now, a lot of you break this up into two equations. I don't need to. Can I just add that? Then from here, can I write x equals, oops, can you do me a favor, Nicole? Hit the keyboard. Okay, so from here, I can just write 2, oops, did I miss rad 11? 2 plus or minus what? Rad 11, and I can just box that up. Okay, you break it up into two equations if you can simplify that. Ben V?
Why is it x minus 2?
X minus 2. Because there's a minus in the equation right here, Ben. So if, in the original, okay, so if there's a minus in the equation, it has to be an x minus 2.
Yeah.
So when I multiply this back, the goal is, remember, x minus 2 times x minus 2. When I check it, x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is now negative 2x. In the middle is also negative 2x. And at the end, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Can you see when I check them, they have to equal to negative 4?
Yeah.
So that's why it has to be minus in the middle. Okay? I'm going to pinch it in so you can copy that down. Now, Joe asked me a really good question earlier. Is it always an x squared in the front? And the answer is no. Okay? Like, if I give you this, let me write this down. And all you got to do is, this is one of your homework questions. Okay. Can you see this right here? Can you see the x squared doesn't have? It's not just a 1. What does it have? Okay, that's actually a 6. Oops, this is 6 minus 12x. So first, you probably want to write it in order. 6x squared. If I move this over, what would that be now? Positive 12x, and then minus 48 equals to 0. Can you see now that's in order? Okay. The book says, or the note said, you have to move c to both sides. So now you have 6x squared plus 12x equal to positive 48. Is that still okay? But here's the part where it's different, slightly different from your notes. Can you see this is not just simply x squared? What is it? 6. So how do I get it? Yeah, factor out the GCF. Okay. So, by the way, are they all divisible by 6?
Yeah.
Okay. If I divide each and every term by 6, would the equation still be equal? Okay, then that's okay to divide. Does that make sense what I'm saying? If you're going to go and do that, if you divide each and every term by 6, is my equation still equal? Then that's okay to divide. Then, if you divide by that, then it's x squared plus 2x plus a blank equal to what? What's on this side?
48.
Well, 48 divided by 6. 7 or 8? 8, okay. Then that's okay. It's still equal, it's just a smaller version, okay? So if you see something that's not an x squared in the front, Joe, guess what you can do? Factor that GCF or divide if you're still going to get equal. Here's your homework for tonight, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Do you have all the homework already, Raymond?
I have both of them except number 6.
Okay. Actually, can you stay put so I can give you number 6?
Yeah.
4 on your team. 1, 2, 3, 4 on your team. Okay. Did I not give you guys? I don't give you 2? Okay. Let me stop this.